Sangena thina mavulandlela nelihlelo Yilungelo Lakho, it's your right. Leli kwathisa kabanti ngetindzaba letibathengi letisematheni. Nawe ke mbukeli ungaba ingcenye lelihlelo ke ngekutheke usithinze lapha e-studio noma ke usibhalele ku Facebook na ku Twitter. Mina ke ngimSimphiwe Ngcongwane kanti ke leli Yilungelo Lakho. Thank you so much for joining us. The National Credit Regulator is on a warpath. This follows complaints from consumers who feel that car dealers who load extra fees on the price of a car do so illegally. The National Credit Act is very clear on the fees that can be charged in a credit agreement, and thus the regulator wants consumers to be refunded if they were made to pay for the items that are not provided for by the Act. The car sale industry disputes this claim. Now it is up to the National Consumer Tribunal to decide who between the two has got this wrong. Agesive na umbiko.
Ungafunga ukuba amaxabiso ezizithuthi acacela ubala awufuni ukucaciswa ngakumbi. Kaloku kuthiwa lento uyibonayo yileyo uyifumanayo. Kodwa kubathengi benqola mafutha ayikho tu lonto. Khumbula, ixabiso lemoto yeyona nto ibangela umthengi enze isigqibo sokuthenga isithuthi sithile endaweni yokuthenga esithile. Kodwa ekugqibeleni uza kuthi xa etyikitya isivumelwano sokuthenga ibe imoto seyibiza imali engapha le. Bathi ngenxa yentlawulo ezibizwayo kulungiselwa ukuba isithuthi sikwazi ukuba semgaqweni ngokusesikweni i-delivery fees xa beyikhumsha.
On the road fees is for i-price esiyicharge ukuregister imoto yakho egameni lakho nakwigama lebank. Lawo ma-charges lawo ngama-charges abalulekile ukuthi as i-dealership because kune-cost esiranayo in terms of ukuregister imoto yakho.
Akuphelelanga apho. Ukuhlola kwesithuthi phambi kokuba sithengiswe, ukulungisa impepha zokuba ibe sendleleni, ukuthenga i-insurance, ukugalela amafutha kunye nokuyicoca phambi kokuba iwele kumniniyo zizinto ezibangela ezindleko. Ndleko ezingahamba ziyokufikelela kumawaka ngamawaka eerandi. Kodwa eyona icabukisa abathengi abaninzi yile yezwa njenge-delivery fee. Babuza ukuba uyihlawula njani kodwa imoto khange iziswe kuwe endlini. Nguwe mnini wayo othe wayokuyithatha.
The delivery of the car does not mean ukuthi it's a fees as charged for your documentation wakho wemoto. It's like a contract. The bank has charged for the contract, so we must charge you for that. Delivery fee does not mean ukuthi simele sizodeliver kuimoto. It's a term eyuzwayo nje ukuthi delivery fee. Kodwa it include ama charges like ama petrol nako konke lo.
Into ebhida abantu kungacaciswa kakuhle kwezindleko. Into embi izindleko zifakwa phezulu kwexabiso lemoto. Lo nto ibangela ukuba ixabiso lesithuthi litshintshe kanobomi. Abathengi abayithandi tu lento.
When you go to a garage, for instance, you're buying a car, they're going to tell you that maybe it's 250,000. And then at the end of the day, you end up paying something like 350, including all the charges, delivery charges, plate number, the disc licenses and everything.
They must explain to me those costs, like delivering licenses. In some things, I went to an extent of doing it myself, because if you look at what they charge for licensing and what the actual cost is, they charge plus minus twice to 3 times of what the license officer will charge you.
Most of the consumers, 85%, they don't care to ask. Hence, I'm saying perhaps the ombudsman that's dealing with these things, they must look into these things. Because I feel personally that we pay lots of money for cars.
But do you ever take the time to study the contract before you sign?
You know, sometimes, when you purchase a car, sometimes you don't even study because of the small contents of the contracts that you can't even go through it. You find that the content is a lot and it's very small. You don't even go through it thoroughly. It's true.
Izikhalazo zwangaphansi seziyokufikelela kwi-ofisi ye-National Credit Regulator. Unosipho Zikishe uthi abantu bafuna ukuqonda ukuba abaqhathwa na. I-National Credit Act ithi akukho semthethweni ukongeza indleko ezisecaleni ngaphezu kwetyala lesithuthi.
What we noted is that there are no on-road fees on that Section 102 yet. Therefore, it's not a fee that a consumer must pay in respect of a credit agreement.
Kodwa kuzokuthiwani xa umthengisi kunye nomthengi bevumelana ukuba umzekelo indleko zokuyicoca okanye zokuyihlola mazifakwe kwisivumelwano setyala elo.
It is a problem because we expect zonke credit providers zihambe ngokomthetho wethu. And umthetho wethu uclear, and the credit providers must understand ukuthi ngoku if wena uzovasa imoto ye-consumer, whether i-consumer ivumile anivumelananga, you can't add it as part of the credit agreement. So if you add it as part of the cost of credit in terms of the credit agreement, it means you must charge only the fees that are stated in the Act. That contract in Isabeni signer would be a separate contract away from the credit agreement.
I-NCR ithi xa ezindleko zongeza kwityala lemoto zigqibela zisenza ityala lixhume lokufika kumaqondo oyikekayo.
The issue is not about the purchase price, the issue is about the cost of credit. We, National Credit Regulator, regulates the credit industry. Therefore, we must set out umthetho ubanga bazeziphi fees. It must be clear which fees actually go with the credit agreement. If you will be adding fees that are not regulated by the National Credit Act, you are obviously unyusa cost of credit a consumer, meaning by a consumer will be indebted in that credit agreement, and to try to avoid it by all means ukuthi a consumer zingabhatali undisclosed fees.
Emva kokufika kwezikhalazo, i-NCR yalela abathengisa izithuthi ukuba babuyisele imali ethathwe ngokungekho mthethweni kubathengi. Kodwa abathengisa izithuthi abachaphazelekayo bathi i-NCR iyaphazama. Ngoku lo mba usiwe kumlawuli wempixano i-National Consumer Tribunal. Uvuyisile Mdoda, Yilungelo Lakho.
Asibonge ngalombiko manje ucoca abantu ngalendzaba asesimukele ke Mabatho Sinyarello lovela ke lapha ka National Credit Regulator siphinde sibe na Elias Shamatla yena ke lo ucucuthu lemalungelo ebathengi siphinde yena kuvela lapha eMarifi Consulting. Lady, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now ndawucela ngawe ke Mabatho, just how prevalent is this issue?
I would say it's prevalent in the sense that we have found that most of the motor vehicle car dealerships are actually charging a certain amount that is not part of the credit, that should not be included in the credit agreement. So we've realized that it seems as if it's across the board. We won't name names because some of them may not be, but since we've been doing our investigations, we found out that it's prevalent across the whole industry. When you purchase a motor vehicle, that you are charged these fees, and you find that the motor vehicle financiers are not able to respond or like explain to us it's for what and how. Yeah. Yes.
Now Elias, how did we get here?
What happens is that when as consumers we are given the pre-agreement when we buy a vehicle, and then pre-agreement will say the vehicle is 150,000 rand, and we know that there's an initiation fee of 1,000 something rand that they must charge, and then we have got monthly service fee of 68.40, and over and above this you have got this amount. Some of them they charge 5,000 rand, some 6,000 rand on road fees. And then when you ask, what is this on-road fees? You don't get a clear explanation because your license disc at the license department is 680 rand. And then let's say you include the what called the roadway fee certificate. That ranges from 400 to 500 rand. And then you add the certificate of ownership. That will be extra 400 rand. So all in all, the charges are less than 2,000 rand. So the issue is, what is the 3,000 rand for? For me as a consumer. That's where it started.
Babala ke bo valet, babala nabo insurance, babala nabo driver's wages. Lalaba ngoba ngibo apparently ngibo lalabamba about delays le kuma licensing bureaus. Babala naloko in the pricing.
My problem as a consumer is that they don't give me an option to say if you want to go to license department on your own, you can go and register your vehicle. They will tell you that these fees are compulsory.
Do the consumers have that option though?
The consumers should have that option because what we are saying is that At the end of the day, that's the reason why there should be a pre-agreement statement and quotation. A consumer has to find out, why am I paying this? For example, if I go on the Credit Act, like initiation fee, there's an initiation fee which initiates the credit agreement. That fee, you've got an option, and the Act is clear. You've got an option as to whether you can include it in your credit agreement or not. So these are the fees that the dealership is mentioning. The consumer should have an option that, no, I'll do my own my own licensing. But the manner in which it's done, it's such a psychological thing. It's included as if it's part of the agreement, and you can't have an option to do it. And that's the reason why we went back and we're saying, over and above that, you're still including the credit agreement, inflating the price. Why don't you include in the purchase price if it's allowed in terms of the law? Because you know very well that it's not. That's why you include it into the credit agreement. So we are saying you should not include the credit agreement because it's not supposed to be there. We've asked them, like Shamatla is saying, they've told us valets and delivering of the motor vehicle. As you've seen in the snippet there, the gentleman mentioned delivery of a credit agreement. Normally we get these through emails or you go directly there. So what is the definition of delivery that we understand as consumers? Is that we let me, not that I have to go fetch the car. So why should I be? So that's why we realize that most of the time it's been an issue that motor vehicle financiers have been doing this for such a long time that now it has come to a point where they should admit, we are wrong, can you rectify? Sure. Instead, they are still set in their ways that they should be doing it, which we're still saying they shouldn't. That's the reason why it has been referred to the tribunal.
So indlela vele profita kuma consumers.
Yes, and what is funny is that the banks are party to this because they even put a cap to say you can edit as long as it doesn't exceed 6,000 rand.
Okay. But then, do I have the right to negotiate the on-the-road fees or the additional fees?
Yes, you can, but normally some of the dealerships will tell you that the minute you decide to register the vehicle on your own, you waive your rights as far as the Consumer Protection Act is concerned. Therefore, they are not going to be liable for any damages that happen or occur to the car as far as the National Consumer Protection Act is concerned. Because remember, you have to take the car for roadworthy. And if you take it to a roadworthy place, they're going to charge you 400 rand or 500 rand. You save a lot of money. You can go to a license department. You can even send a child who's going to pay 680 rand instead of 4,000 rand. You will save money. But they tell you that the minute you do that, don't come back to us and tell us that there's something wrong with the car. Then, obviously, you're going to say, I'd rather pay this money. I don't want comebacks.
Sure. What kind of complaints have been lodged by the, at the NCR?
The complaints that we lodged are the ones that Shamatla is also mentioning. The complaints that, because we first of all did like an investigation. We took the initiative as the NCR to also look into the fees that are in terms of Section 102. And then that's when we started inviting, and then when people started being aware of the compliance notices, then we did actually open up that bring your complaints to us also so that we can check as to whether you are charging that fee. So the issue here is that you must remember there's two acts. There's the Consumer Protection Act and there's the NCA. We fall under the National Credit Act, which is regulating the banks. The Consumer Act will be regulating your dealerships and all these other issues that Shamatla is also mentioning. So how we came in is that your banks, you are even allowing this dealership to charge this and to include it in the credit agreement, which inflates the amount that the consumer should be charging, and the interest becomes too much. 6,000 is a lot. If you are planning to only buy a car for 100,000 and there's that 6,000 extra because there's different charges that you are also charged that the banks is allowed to charge, and then your total cost of credit becomes ridiculous.
Sure. 6,000 rand is a whole lot of money. Asasibambe lapho ke mbukeli siyabuya khona nyalo. Siphinde sikwamukele futhi mbukeli tincingo tethu ke setivuliwe nathi ke tinombolo kumabona kudze wakho on your screens right now 0117146918 asisiphinde sichubeke nale discussion yethu. Now Mabato, some of the dealerships say the NCR has got it all wrong because they claim that the fees charged were actually agreed upon with the consumers.
The fees charged should not be part of the credit agreement, and that is a position of NCR. If it's not in the Act, it shouldn't be part of the agreement. E-consumer what should be charged and how. I mean, e-consumer is depending on them to actually advise I'm a consumer by charge and how. So how will a consumer, if I'm a consumer and I'll definitely go and whatever you write on your agreement, I'll agree with it. That's the reason why even khona manje besikhuluma ngale ndaba yokuthi ama pre-agreement statement of quotation. Yes, the law says that nikeze yona abantu abaningi bashilo nje even in the snippets ukuthi abayibheki lento le ngoba at the end of the day mina ngicabanga ukuthi ngifuna imoto, you know, and it's also our responsibility as consumers ukuthi sibheke lento lezi sibuze, and if you don't agree, go somewhere else. We need to start also taking responsibility and singacabanga ukuthi it's all about ukuthi if I don't get finances I won't get a car. Sometimes we need to also try to change the mindset scenario like in South Africa that if you're not going to give me this, I'll go to someone else, and that person will have to match. I understand when even your interest, you can be able to negotiate your interest if you can. Go to other people, shop around. Why do we just monopolize this industry that much that we don't check with other places? So as the NCR, our position is that that amount should not be in the credit agreement. And as the NCR, because we are protecting also consumers, it is our responsibility to actually check these things. And a consumer, I don't agree with the fact that consumer consented to that. A consumer will consent to anything as long as they get the motor vehicle or they get the house or they get the money that they desperately require at the time. Yes.
So what should they do right now? Elias?
NCR, as they have already mentioned, that they've issued a compliance notice. The dealerships consent or the car companies consent have to calculate how much they must reimburse us, the consumers, how much they must refund us. But a case study. I've got a case study here, Mam Kize.
Okay.
Mam Kize is buying a vehicle for 150,000 rand. So now Mam Kize requested the pre-agreement, which is a quotation. And then the dealer adds 1,197 rand initiation fee. That makes the financed amount 151,197. Okay, that is over 60 months, no deposit, no balloon payment. Okay. At the interest rate of 12.25. Currently, the prime rate is 10.25. 10.25, yeah. Yes, everything is fine. Now check when they add 5,000 rand on-road fees. The financed amount becomes 156. And then the installment becomes 2,700 rand. If there's no on-road fees, the installment is 26. But take that amount, multiply by 60 months, it gives you over 5,000 rand.
Yes.
You understand? And then you still have to add interest on top of that.
Okay.
So now it shows that it has got impact on us as consumers. How they got 150,000 rand, and then have added these amounts. By added charity carpet, they do add carpets as well, 1,600 rand, and then by added. We're going to in the container windscreen washer, that liquid soap. They add another 600 rand there. At the end of the day, you are supposed to pay 150,000 rand. Here you are, you pay 180,000 rand. And I just want to tell you one thing, Simpiwe. If you buy a 150,000 rand car with no additions, the total repayment amount is 211,000 rand. Because the interest on that is 55,000 rand on the 150,000 car. But if we add these extra charges, which are not contained in the National Credit Act, you've got a problem.
Okay.
Because come 6 months down the line, you lose your job, you want to sell the vehicle, they tell you that the value of your vehicle is 120, but the balance is 200,000.
Hayi lenza abantu sayifuna kusinza lena sina Siphiwe ke ulapha eCape Town. Sakumoya hlelweni sawubona?
Sawubona bhuti kunjani?
Siphilile kunjani baba?
Siphilile bhuti man.
Khuluma nathi.
Hayi nami bhuti man ben mamele lenkqubo yenu mandithi man 24 nami thina nonkosikazi ne sathenga imoto apha kwaToyota eCape Town ne.
Okay.
So we were too excited ke ngoku thina zange sijonge into thina kwasi iToyota siyikhampani enkulu sathenga imoto. Ngoni ifonayo ndiqonde hayi ndibanithengisa uToyota thina one charge out thina i61,000. Wathi i-finance charges 61,292. Waphinda kwakho ezinye ze-15,000 apha kwakho ne-140 rand ne-140. So imoto leso ithengile yaye 183 kodwa yahamba according ilantuka ilantuka nje incwadi ndisiphetha phambi kwami ezini yahamba yotsho kwi-300,000 uyaqonda imoto isuka ku-183 thetha ukuthi ke nyhani nam ndiyavumelana nani bayasi-overthatha babantu.
All right, Siphiwe siyabonga kakhulu ukusishayela. So basically, they've always been underwent this crazy scourge of being overcharged by the dealership.
Yeah, you concur with what we are saying. because all these fees add to the amount that you owe, and it affects the resale value of the vehicle as well. Because as I said, once you want to trade in this vehicle or you want to sell it, they tell you that the balance is this much and the value of the vehicle is that much. Okay. You have to pay a shortfall.
Okay, so this then means that the advertised price is misleading.
Definitely. From the NCR's perspective, if you look at the advertising and the ones that we are saying they are correct, they usually will show you that there will be interest charged on the total. Like if they write for, that the amount is this much, they have to show you the cost of credit. However small they write it on that advertisement, they usually have it, especially your well-known dealerships. If you look at the advertising, they will write there at the bottom that you will be charged interest, and that the ones that, yes, that's the NCR, we are agreeing that they should be charging them. Okay. These other on-the-road fee, it's also something that we don't know of, and that's the reason why we cannot explain it, because it's a fee that the NCR does not know anything about, as it's not part of the Act.
All right. All right, Mbugeli, our lines are open. Keep those calls coming. As Spinza Sishele Mbugela said to us, Sabuya Pananyado. Kanzigeli, Yilungelo Lakho. Uthini ke umbono wakho Mbugeli ngale ndzaba le? Ungafeli ngekhathi sithinze usitshele ke. Asasibuke bo Facebook messages ukuthi ke bona abathini. Njabulo kubheka uthi delivery is too high. Sibongisani ngubane uthi this is just a way of charging more money. Why isn't it included in the advertised price instead of hiding it? It's theft. Njabulo Mgati uthi indeed it's very important to know all the costs when you want to buy a car. How do you respond to that?
Well, yes. I want to mention one dealership because they are doing a good thing. The dealership underneath SABC here. Okay. The Volvo dealership. I mention it because they are doing a good thing. I hope other dealerships will follow them. What happened there was that they said they charged 2.9 delivery fee. But after the complaints notice from NCR to other manufacturers, what they did was that they said, you know what, we are no longer going ahead with this thing. We're going to stick to the Act. Okay. It was a normal practice. Everybody was charging it, but since NCR has indicated that this is illegal, we are not doing it. Okay. We're just going to deliver the car as it is.
All right. Now, Mabatu, one leading car dealership has been served with the compliance notice. So is this starting a precedent for the other dealerships as well?
Yes, definitely. We've already served another dealership with motor vehicle finances, not a dealership, motor vehicle finances, with a compliance notice. And unfortunately, even if Shamatla says the dealership down the road has stopped, they will still be issued with a compliance notice because for the longest time, they've been doing something that they were not supposed to do in terms of the Act. So they will have to refund those consumers nonetheless. You know, if we find that they were
so the compliance notice is in retrospect?
No, it's in our compliance notice, we are saying from the date of the inception of the Act, if you find that you've been charging this amount that was not part of the Act, then it should be from there. It's not a new amendment that we're coming in and we're saying that it will not affect consumers retrospectively. This has been the Act from 2007 as it is, so it has not changed. It's the responsibility of the credit providers to make sure that they comply with the Act no matter what. So at the end of the day, that is what our position would be. That we're not saying currently for this year, 2017, if you were charging delivery on the road fee, then you're only going to refund those consumers. We say you were not supposed to be charging consumers that on the road fee regardless. So you should refund because it's unjustified enrichment from your side. You've been enriched by money that is not supposed to be yours. Refund consumers what is due to them. That is why we're not saying paying or what. It's a refund. It's consumers' money. Okay. They have to get it back. Okay. Yes.
Now, earlier on, you did agree that the sticker price or the advertised price is actually misleading because all these on-the-road fees are not included in that price. So what what section of the National Consumer Act are the car dealerships contravening?
They are contravening Section 102 of the National Credit Act because we are saying that it's a specific credit agreement that they have. Remember, let me just start by saying there's Section 101. Which is different to Section 102. Section 101 is basically all the credit agreements that the charges that a consumer can, credit provider can charge, which is your initiation fee, your interest, your service fee. Those we agree that yes, charge them. Section 102, it's specific to certain credit agreements. For example, in this particular case, when you enter into an agreement with the motor vehicle financiers, that one is different to your normal agreement. So you may charge delivery fee. You may charge your fuel charges and your installation and so on and so forth. But our argument also, we're saying, when you charge those amounts, they should be within, because the X further goes on and says, we should be within what the market price is. Sure. You can't now say, my full tank is 600 rands, but you're going to charge me 6,000 rands. We are saying, charge me what the full tank is. Sure. So bring me the receipt. If you include it in the credit agreement, the bank should also have proof that this is how much they charged. We asked them for that proof. We didn't get the proof. Okay. So that's why we are also saying you may charge those charges in Section 102, but they should be reasonable within the market price. Because you remember, we don't regulate what the fuel price is and other things, but we regulate Section 101. Your interest, your service fees and your initiation fees, we regulate. The second ones, we say you may charge it, but let them be within what the market value should be.
Should be, indeed, yes. Indeed. Sina Rose ke ulapha eval. Kunjani Rose?
Ukhona njalo.
Siphilile make. Khuluma nathi.
Yazi ngine problem enjalo le. Ithenge imoto 2013, the price it was 269, but when they sent the statement, the bank, they sent with 290. Officer was charged 21,000 on top of that price, and then no one explained a tweet about it. So actually not actually happy about that as well.
All right, Rose, sebonga. Elias, how would you respond to Rose?
I think this is a clear indication that the consumers do not understand these charges and they are not explained to what are these for. And I would suggest that after the show, she can send us an email of that pre-agreement so that we can look at it together with NCR and then we can assist her.
Please tell us that email address again.
Ours is info@marifi.co.za.
All right, info@marifi.co.za.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the case of cash purchases, do the on-the-road fees apply? Or is it only confined to credit agreements?
You see, with cash purchases, we, as the NCR, maybe that was also what Shamat was talking about with the CPA. Remember, there's Consumer Protection Act. They should also be involved. We check the credit agreement. We regulate the banks. We regulate the motor vehicle financiers. Okay. So if it's a cash purchase, you might find that we wouldn't necessarily know what transpired, because now I took my case, you know, it's a different story all entirely, as opposed to when there's a credit agreement there. So that's also another thing that I think we need to engage on. I mean, at the end of the day, Tena City, this money should not be charged to consumers.
So basically, cash purchases are not covered by the NCA?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a cash purchase, there won't be, there's no credit agreement. I won't know to patala installment. You don't have to be charged all these other things. You are buying cash. The only time when you pay in installment is if you have taken out a loan. So a cash purchase will not be the same as, it will not be regulated because it's not a loan.
Okay. So, Elias, which piece of legislation covers those who buy cash?
Consumer Protection Act.
Okay.
But then it doesn't actually regulate the amount. It regulates the condition of the car, the condition of the agreement, because now it's a cash sale agreement. Or if after 3 months, 6 months, you can take it back. You give them 3 opportunities to fix the car, things like that, but not the actual price. Because now, if the vehicle is worth, let's say, 100,000, and the dealer charges 150,000, and you pay it cash, there's no legislation that they say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes you've got these old cars, which they sell them for more.
Yes.
It's worth 30,000, but the demand dictates that it must be 100,000 rand.
Okay.
So you pay 100,000 because you want it.
Right.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Please share your thoughts with us. And on that note, Sina Sfiso ulapha eRefunding sakumole hlelo Sfiso sawubona?
Unjani Puti?
Siphilile kunjani baba?
Yeah, ngiyaphila. Puti, yazi mina bengicela ukubuza noma ingisuggest yabona. Ngibuza ukuthi mhlambe how about if mabafaka iprice yemoto bavele bathi nje okay imoto ibiza 150,000 sengazi ukuthi uma ngiyothenga le moto yonke into seyikhona lapha akukho ezinye izinto esifakiwe izinto ezingeziwe.
Okay, all right. Fisa siyabonga kakhulu ukusishayela. Tininte titakusingatha kuleyo ndzaba. He's basically asking why isn't the price all-encompassing? The price of the car, like say for instance the car costs 150,000. Why doesn't it include everything?
I get it. Or one of the dealerships, one of the add-ons. Baraki said carpets, Baraki said paint protector. So they are allowed to sell those things to you, and you as a consumer you can say no, I don't want them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mavato?
It's just their own way by making sure I mean, they attract us with the amount, right? Then and then if you want tinted windows or you want other things, then buy a fagale. So it's just their own way of attracting as consumers who see the moto. But at the end of the day, consumer, understand if you don't want something, nobody is saying to you, tata le carpet le, hamba yoitanga somewhere else. Buy a cheaper carpet if you want to. But Nati, I think we need to start seeing laba more and show them that we're not going to just take anything and everything. And I just think it's just more education for consumers. I'm not saying I'm a consumer wrong or it's just a matter of asas. And obviously, if you're a salesperson, so you'll end up feeling like, okay, I want this and I want that and I want but you don't necessarily need it. So if it's not a need, leave it, please.
And also you need a sunroof just for control purposes.
Right. And having said that, I'm actually glad you touched on that. One consumer journalist was actually writing that after these compliance notices have been issued, the car dealership will start looking at other ways of using a different language, using a different description rather than on-the-road fees and something like that. What is it that we should look out for?
Credit, pre-agreement, a code, because a price a motor is what is 150,000 rand, and then what are the add-ons? What tinigela? Because you expect to charge initiation fee, 1,197 rand. You expect to charge 68.40 monthly service fee, and then anything extra,
yes.
Yeah, people car wash for 250 rand lap.
Yes. And they refer to something else.
Yes.
What is it that we should look out for?
No, you know what? They will use different words. And that's, I mean, on the road fee, and then we didn't get proper answers. So at the end of the day, like I'm saying, and I'm stressing the point now, my consumer way to phone the NCR if you're not sure. But, I know sometimes we are desperate. I need le moto but at the end of the day, phone the NCR. You still have, I think, 5 days on the pre-agreement statement and quotation before you sign it. You agree, right? Okay. So phone the NCR and said, man, there's these charges that was and I'm understanding the credit industry. So it's like I don't know what kind of animal. It's forever changing. So when there's something happening, something new is always happening. So yes, you are correct. You might find that they're just going to name it something different. But Tina, as the National Credit Regulator was saying, it should not be in the credit agreement. If it's not part of Section 102, as Boiboni Sala on the screen, it should not be part of the agreement. If it's not part of Section 101, it should not be part of the agreement. As Funwa as Uti Niganjan should not be part of the agreement. And fortunately enough, most of us, we really depend on the motor vehicle finances to buy cars. Okay, if it's a cash sale, then also look at that. And then you do have rights as a person who's purchasing the car in cash. So please, consumers, let's also be proactive.
And there's other issues. Say, for instance, you buy a brand new car and bagnigal champagne, bagnigal this huge red bow around the car. All these things are free, but they're actually charged. That's theft, isn't it?
Actually, I heard about that.
Yes.
They included that in those on-road fees, delivery fees. That bottle of champagne and those chocolates or red ribbons.
Hey, man. So in that particular instance, what if the consumer and the dealership agree on the on-the-road fees? Maybe on the road fee, 4,000 rand, it's fine, if again. So that means I'll be complicit in the contravention of the National Consumer Act.
If when you agree with the dealership to buy fag, it must not be in the credit agreement. As if Tina, we are saying it should not be part of the credit agreements. It's not part of the cost that you are allowed to charge. So if we're on Nesvumelan, dealership, we don't know why you did what you did as a consumer, we can't force you to say no. You are wrong. But Tina City, it should not be part of the credit agreement. Okay. But I don't see any normal-minded consumer would be agreeing on paying 6,000 even if I've won the lotto. Yeah,
it's the same of saying, okay, the speed limit, maximum speed limit in South Africa is 120 kilometers per hour. When because your car can reach 340, you say, no, it's the agreement between me and my car. It's illegal.
Right. I can move as a reflecting. I will be back shortly. Don't go away. Welcome back to our very final segment. Let's take a look at some of the messages that have been coming through. The NCR must do something. It's not enough to just say car dealers should not be charging too much. What plan in motion are they doing? Because they are aware of the issue at hand. Hence, it's not legal. Lasima Cindy Gideon, they also add some silly cover on the original dates of the car, like dent and scratches, windscreen and delivery money, even when you fetch the car. Sinazo Mkwali, I do not have a car, but I'm watching your show as usual. Thank you from Hebe LOC Ngamakwe. Sinazo. All right, on that note, let's take our final caller. Sina Samson Lapa Soweto. Sagumela Helen Samson Sawbona.
Yebo sanibonani ba.
Ninjani baba?
Siyaphila ninjani?
Siyaphila. Khuluma nathi baba.
Ya, ngicela ukubuza la kumama nobaba lapho. Abakhuluma ngendaba zemoto. Yebo, yabona kakhulukazi thina abantu abamnyama asinalo ulwazi kakhulu mase sithenga izinto zekweleti kanjani. Manje ngiyahamba ngithi ngiyofuna imoto, ngiyathola imoto bathi le moto i200,000. Ngibacela ukuthi okay, ngicela ukuthi ningenzele yonke i-quotation iphelele ukuthi le moto lena manje ubhadala isikweleti sokugcina ngizoba ngibhadala emalini. Bangenzele mina ngithathe le quotation ngize lapho kumama nosisi lapho ngithi anikhombiseni lana ngichache kahle na noma kukhona okuyi extra ongichache na kona bangisebenzelele na ukuthi no bangibhekele na ukuthi no lana I right noma ayikho right na kungenzeka lokho ngiyabonga.
Okay, siyabonga kakhulu Samson kusishayela. Mabatho ungamphendula kanjani Samson?
Ubab Samson, yes, he can contact Tina NCR.
Okay.
That's why bengisho ukuthi if I understand something, it's better ubuza laba abaziyo. So it's better that you contact us at NCR ubuze kahle ukuthi le mali le bangicharge yona I right or kwenzakalani ngayo nathi sikuchazele kahle ukuthi yini le bamele bakucharge. And then on the Facebook usisinqobile bengifuna ukusho ukuthi we have done something as the NCR. We have issued our compliance notices. We are saying that they need to refund, but as umthetho nabo banama rights ukuthi ba object kulento lesishoyo, and currently this matter is being handled by the courts. So it's not like sihleli siyakhuluma nje sise TV. We are actually taking action as the NCR.
So if now that the matter is in court, should the consumers or the car owners flock to the dealerships to demand their refunds after this declaratory order has been issued?
Because what we are saying is that in our audit, so that there shouldn't be such commotion, ama dealership, ama motor vehicle finances, there must be an auditor, an independent auditor with azo check. Like you might find that there's some credit agreements azange bamcharge lento le mara njengoba unale moto leyo uzoya lapha you charge me. So there needs to be proof also ukuthi you have been charged, and ukhumbula ukuthi kaningi ama motor vehicle finances wethu bayabamba ama credit agreements wethu angithi siyayibhadala le moto le, so bazo checka kahle ukuthi who is liable for this money or not. We can't say it's definitely wonke umuntu. That's why sithi kube no auditor. Auditors will check everybody who's due for this refund and then give the NCR a quarterly report to how many people have been refunded and how. We've done such a procedure before with other credit providers where there was overcharging and then an auditor was appointed and then people were refunded. And then they have to do like a progress report, you can imagine it's different dealerships, and for one, if we just name the one that we know of, how many people have that car in South Africa, and flocking to dealerships. We don't want to also say that disrupt the business at a dealership. We are actually saying that you need to be refunded, but we're not saying don't go become aggressive now and, say demand. That's why we're trying to maneuver it in such a way that we're saying, let's have somebody who, yes, they have been refunded, Okay, consumers, some of them have emailed dealerships or I'm due for that refund. But we are encouraging consumers, bring it to the NCR rather, so that we can work around this thing, so that not everybody must just take the law in their hands. We don't want a situation where everybody's just going everywhere and demanding something that we're not sure of. So they rather bring complaints to NCR and then obviously when we have that audit report, yes, we agree, yeah.
So in the meantime, Elias, consumers ngamele bende in?
But NCR, by the audit, and when they buy cars now, they must check those added fees.
Nangivise kahle Samson lapha eSoweto ukhalenge ukhuluma indzaba ye balloon payment sengiyabekisa ekugcineni the very last payment in the credit arrangement ukhuluma balloon payment. Is it also covered?
Well, balloon payment is a separate issue from this. However, how it comes about, where now you tell the dealership how much you want to pay, or the bank how much you want to pay, or how much you can afford to pay. Okay. Good dealership, I can afford to pay 2,700 Rand a month. So now on the vehicle of 150,000 Rand, installment is 3.5. Okay. When I want to pay 2.7, what they will do, they will pack 30% of the total amount and put it aside as a balloon payment. And then you pay the 2.7 that you want to pay for the duration of 72 months with no deposit. Okay. And then on the 72nd month, you must pay that 30% of 150,000, which is roughly 45,000 Rand. You must pay it cash. If you don't have cash, you have to refinance it. So that's the disadvantage of the balloon payment, because sometimes when you want to refinance it, you are already blacklisted. You can't get refinance. So basically, when you buy a car on a balloon payment, it means that you cannot afford that car.
Right.
So that's why you want to pay the lesser installment for the similar car that I'm paying 3.5 for. You want to pay 2.8, I'm paying 3.5 on the same car. So the difference is that after 5 years, it's my car because I'm paying 3.5 a month. Where now you're going to pay less amount, but on the 72nd month, you have to pop up 45,000 Rand.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Unlike the on-road fees, Mabato, is the balloon payment also covered in the Act? Yes,
but you must remember, balloon payment is not necessarily covered at its entirety. Like what Shamatle is saying, it's what you would pay. The agreement that you're talking about between the motor vehicle finance and the consumer, that's the legal agreement. The one that I'm saying, I'll pay the total amount at the 72nd month. But for now, I'm going to pay this amount and you're going to charge me like this. That will be the only one that we'll agree on. And I just wanted to add on that, please remember that the matter has been referred to the courts, so the courts are deliberating on the compliance notices. And once the order is out, then consumers will then be notified as to which way the courts have gone.
Okay.
Yes.
About now, Elias, thank
you so much.
All right. Sasithemba ukuthi nawe umbukele ucaciselekile ngalokunyenti uma uthenga imoto ngalokutako sota ukwati ke kwenda tinqumo lesihlakaniphile. Many thanks to our studio guests for their invaluable insights. Please join us again Mondays from midday for our live consumer affairs programs, and for repeats of our shows, catch us here on SABC 1 every Thursday night from 10 to 11 p.m. Tinhlelo tethu ke tiyatfolakala futhi na ku YouTube. From me Simpiwe Ngqongwane and the rest of the team, wishing you all a great week. Nisale kahle.
Hallelujah.